Alright, today we are going to make pie crust. We've made pie, and now we need some crust, of course. We're going to use my mom's recipe, a slight variation on it. Her recipe calls for enough to make 5 pies, and it includes 5 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of brown sugar, a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 4 teaspoons of vinegar in 3/4 cup of water, and a pound of lard or shortening. Now the only thing we are going to do different here is that we are not going to include the egg, mainly because I'm doing enough for 1 pie. I'm doing 1/5 of this, and it's kind of difficult to do 1/5 of an egg. I've done this before, it's turned out pretty good without the egg, so we'll do it that way again. Okay, here's what I've come up with to go with 1/5 of Mom's recipe. In this bowl you can see I have just shy of a 1/4 teaspoon of brown sugar. This is Himalayan rock salt, which is why it's not white. It's also just shy of a 1/4 teaspoon. A good pinch of baking powder, just pinch a good bit between my finger and thumb like that. In here we have just shy of a teaspoon of vinegar. I used some very nice apple cider vinegar. We have a cup of flour. I'm using whole wheat flour, of course. And we have some lard. I'm using my home rendered pork fat, and you can use shortening if you want, but let me give you a tip. If you want a really yummy pie crust, save up your bacon fat and in a jar like this and use it in a pie crust, and you're going to have a bacon flavored pie crust. Who can resist that now? We're going to use 100 milliliters of this, and I will show you in a moment how we can measure out exactly 100 milliliters. It's pretty easy actually, and that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we have to do is melt the fat in our microwave oven. When you're doing this, you have to watch it very closely and stop the microwave just when the fat all melts. Otherwise, fat can get very hot in a microwave, and it will get hot enough to break that jar. So keep your eye on it. I'm going to set that for that long, and I am going to watch it like a hawk. So you can see that it is almost all melted. There's a little wee tiny bit here that's not, and we are only about 40 seconds in, so I'll give it a few more seconds to melt that last little bit. Okay, it's all melted. We want 100 milliliters, which is right there. That's what we're going to use. And of course I've got a KitchenAid, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to use this beater on there. In with the flour first of all, and up with the bowl, and in goes the fat and the vinegar and the salt and other stuff there goes in, and we'll give it a few turns. Now we still haven't added the water, of course, and the amount of water can vary depending on relative humidity and a bunch of other factors. I believe we are going to need 2 to 3 tablespoons. So there's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. We'll try that first. Okay, it's still all crumbly as you can see, so I think I'm going to add that 3rd tablespoon. Okay, I think I've got a pretty good consistency here. It's holding together well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the fridge for a little while, because it rolls out better after having been refrigerated, especially given that the lard that we used had been heated. Okay, I took that out of the fridge. I divided it almost in half. One slightly smaller bit, probably, I don't know, 40% and 60%, because the bottom crust requires a bit more dough. So I rolled it out already. I have it here in the pan. I have my jar of meat pie filling that I'm going to put in here, and of course then I will bake it. Well, then I'll roll this out and put it on top. Alright, you can see that 1 liter of meat pie filling fits perfectly into a standard pie shell. Now I'm just going to roll out the other part here and put it on top, and in the meantime I will start the oven preheating. There, we got the top on and all crimped around the edges. I'm just going to make a few slits. Again, you'll notice that the crust is fairly dark color because I do use whole wheat flour. And there's my oven ready. You can hear it beeping in the background, so I'm going to toss it in. 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 minutes with the convection turned off.